Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Chakwarash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, like it. Double honors to the apostles and elders who rule well and teach well with sincerity, honesty, and integrity. Brothers whose labor in this truth, putting their life on the line, especially in these times. Salutations to you, brothers. Any brothers and sisters believe in this truth wholeheartedly and sincerely. Shalom to the hopeful elect. All right, this is going to be fair use for educational purposes. All right, fair use for educational purposes. All right, let's play.
We saw Dr. Anthony Fauci essentially protected. We saw him essentially labeled untouchable in terms of questions or scrutiny or anything like that. We saw vaccine mandates and booster mandates and, distancing stipulations and mask mandates and all of this other stuff. And along the way, there were a select few individuals in the world of sports, especially, that stood up and said, nah, I'm not down for this. And it was people like me who were critical of him. In my case, it wasn't about the vaccine itself. It was about the fact that from a societal perspective, if we all got to deal with it, we all got to deal with it. And I looked at a willingness for one to sacrifice themselves for the betterment of the team, even though you thought something would be unhealthy for you, potentially. And I felt like it was worth the risk. I didn't want to take the vaccine, but I took it. Millions of other people didn't want to take the vaccine, but we took it. Why? Because there was a mandate that was handed down. And if we weren't willing to meet that mandate, our jobs, our livelihoods, if not compromised in a very significant way, would be completely stripped from us. But there were others who had the courage to say, bump that. And one of those people at the forefront.
All right, so as you heard, that's how we can tell you that's going to be the prelude, right, to this whole MOTB infrastructure, man. That whole juicy juice, all right, that jump shot, that jab, you see, because he just put it all out there that you know he did it. He didn't want to do it, but he did it so he can continue to go on with everyday life. You see, and that same decision he's gonna have to face when it comes to the MOTB, and most of the people who took that juicy juice is gonna make the same decision because they lack faith. You see, the real men, the true men, you know, and that's why those of you who call yourself Israelites, you leaders out there, you have, and I'll call them out, IUIC, IS, ISUPK, other saying it's okay to go take the jump shot. You see, that's why. A lot of you them leaders out there is the blind leaders and the blind leading the blind into the ditch, man. Matter of fact, let's grab that scripture, man. And that's what you're seeing, man. Because let the blind lead the blind, let them all fall in the ditch, man. Matthew, I think that's 15 and 14. Matthew 15, verse 14, it reads, let them alone. They be blind leaders of the blind. And if the blind lead the blind, both shall fall into the ditch. And that's what's going to happen, man. Both's going to fall into the ditch. The deceiver and the deceived is Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, man. So he done gave you over to that deception, all right? And you in that blindness, right? You trusting, you trusting in. Let me get it real quick. Hello, Slovakia. Let me just Google that. Hello, song. I think. Yep, Psalms 118 and 9. Psalms 118 and 8. It reads, "It is better to trust in the Lord than to put confidence in man." And that's what they did. They put confidence in man. See, we trust the men of the Lord, the head apostles and bishops and elders of Great Millstone. The orders went out the right way, man, not to take the juicy juice. And brothers stood firm on the faith. You have brothers that's been in this truth that know brothers that know men that was in IUIC that took the shot because they, and now they regretting it. You see? But men, I know men personally that lost their whole career. You see, lost their whole licenses, man, for not taking that juicy juices because they did what? It says, verse 9, "It is better to trust in the Lord than to put confidence in princes," right? So that's what we did. We put our trust in the Lord, man. And that's what the brother did, and that's what brothers did that had that wise counsel, but one first and foremost had the spirit working with them, man. You see? Yeah, there was people of this world who didn't take it, right? But we, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, Bahashim Rakakwadash, knew not to take that jump shot, man. And we was willing to risk it all, man. Risk. I know brothers, even including myself, man, risking families, right? And then now for all to come full circle that we was right. The Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, gave us the spirit. So, and guess what? We was right, man. So we was warning y'all and telling y'all in those times not to take it. We was right. We was giving you sound advice coming from the Lord, man. You see? But then you have people just like you just seen Stephen A. Smith, willing to sell his soul, man. That's what he already did, but willing to do whatever he got to do to continue and receive his paycheck, man. He always talk about the bosses, right? This man, he served Mammon, man. You see? And you can't serve Mammon and the Lord. You see? You can only serve the Lord. And this man, that's what he served. That's his God, is money. And a lot of you so-called Israelites' God is money. You can't have two masters, man. You gotta make sacrifices, man. You gotta have spiritual discernment. And they lack spiritual discernment. A lot of people lack spiritual discernment. So that's why I said when coming, there's gonna be a time, right? Matter of fact, I'm gonna get this real quick. I always get it. One of my favorites. Sirach 12 and 10, it reads, "Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness," man. Yeah, so never trust thine enemy. You know he had nothing but poison. 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 You see? In that juicy juice. But see, that's what happens when you put your trust in the enemy. All right? Yeah, man. So, I'm going to grab this real quick. This is what it's all going to come down to, man. It's going to happen again. Revelation 3 and 10, it reads, "Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation." And that's the next big test, man. And it reads, "Which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. Behold, I come quickly. Hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown." All right. And it reads, "He that overcometh will I make a pillar in the temple of my power, and he shall go no more out. And I will write upon him the name of my power, and the name of the city of my power, which is New Jerusalem, which cometh down out of heaven from my power, and I will write upon him my new name." All right. So we're gonna get those new bodies. We remain faithful, man. We're gonna be good, man. You see? And that's it. We gotta hold fast what we have. Let no man take our crown, man. You see? So we gonna be presented with that MOTB. It's gonna be our family members. People gonna get beheaded. People gonna lose their lives. People thrown into internment camps, right? You see, FEMA camps, right? But guess what? We gotta remain faithful, man. We gotta strive into the truth unto death, man. You know, we're gonna be, Revelation 2:9, right? Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. But so like it, be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life, right? So let no man take your crown, man. You see? You see, these people lack faith. That's why they did that. They trusted in man. They trusted in flesh instead of the Lord. And guess what? What happens every time you do that? He's gonna look what happens to you, man. It's death and destruction, man. You trusted in the creation more than the creator. All right, you what seemeth right to a man, let's get that. Proverbs 14:12. It reads, "There's a way which seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death." You see? You see, and let's jump down to 11, right? Let's jump up to 11. The house of the wicked should be overthrown, all right? Because guess what? The people you trust, their house is going to be overthrown, right? And the reason, but the tabernacle of the upright shall flourish, and that's what's going to happen, all right? That New Jerusalem, that city coming down, right? That everlasting kingdom, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah's kingdom, man, here on earth, all right? For those who remain faithful to the end and to death, you see? So we're going to be tried, but we got to remain faithful to continue to stay 10 toes down. All right. With that, I want to give all honor, glory, and praise to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah, man. Shalom to the whole